Mickey Hart here.
Hello.
Hello, Denny.
Hey, Mickey. How you doing?
Terrific. How are you today?
Oh, very good. I'm being overwhelmed by my favorite drummers. I actually have Tony Allen in my office right now.
Who?
Tony Allen.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Are you a fan?
Not really.
Okay. Well, hey, great to talk to you. Very excited about the new record. I've been listening to it this morning. You must be pretty excited. It's finally seeing the light of day. How long of a process was this in coming together?
How long is the process?
Yeah, as far as when you first conceived of the whole project and,
Well, okay, I'll take you back to the beginning of it. About 4 years ago, I started with the cosmos.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to draw, as a rhythmist, I wanted to know where the rhythm came from, where the beat came from, where time and space began. And writing my books, Drumming at the Edge and Flat-Edge Drum, I started going back in history, Neolithic, Paleolithic. Then I realized that it'd have to come from the beginning of creation, the moment of creation. And that was 13.7 billion years ago. Well, and now it's 13.8. They just updated it. And so that's where the beats came from. So any rhythmist worth their salt would want to know where the groove came from. But I couldn't, but we didn't have the sound of it then until recently. And George Smoot actually correlated the sound, cosmic background radiation. He won the Nobel for it.
Okay.
So I started there, and I started gathering sounds from the stars, the planets, supernovas, so forth and so on. So I was it became a sonic timeline. And it went to the sun, to the moon, the earth, and now I'm sonifying. That's the word they use when you change form from radiation or light into sound.
Wow.
I'm into the micro, the body, the mind, the heart, stem cells, DNA, and now the timeline enters into the micro. So the macro was Mysterium Tremendum. This is the micro. So that's what these songs are based on. They're based on body rhythms.
Yeah.
That scientists have given me the data sets, and I've sonified them and made music with them.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable. When I first started reading about this and listening to the record, it kind of reminded me of your work, the Music to Be Born By a record, which is one of your more famous records, I'm sure. And so something you've been probably trying to work at as far as connecting the body with music for quite some time.
Yeah, well, I didn't realize it then when I did Music to Be Born By. That was just to facilitate the birthing process. The heartbeat of my son in his mother's womb, and it was just to be played while she was giving birth.
Right.
But of course, I did that unconsciously. But once I realized that vibration is the basis of all life, it's the essential ingredient. Without it, you die. There is no life.
Yeah.
I realized that any vibration has two components: an audio component and a visual component. And so that once I realized that, then game on.
Yeah.
I could hear things that were below my hearing and above my hearing, to bring them into my own spectrum.
Yeah.
And be able to tune into the matter that's everywhere. The carbon emitted from a star a billion years ago that might have exploded is in your cheesecake. You're part of that. You're made of star stuff.
Yes.
Sagan would say you're made of star stuff. So those are the stimuli that we're made of. But what does it all sound like? What does the universe sound like? Pythagoras called it the music of the spheres.
Mm-hmm.
Pythagoras, being the father of the science of music around 300 B.C., he gave mathematical equations to all the stars and the planets and everything because he could see.
Yeah.
You know, the tides and everything that worked, and we're entrained and we're efficient. So then the laws of entrainment were discovered in the 1700s, where any two organisms that were close in proximity would eventually be together. Laws of entrainment. One thing led to the other, and now we have radio telescopes that can read deep into the universe, and now we have EEGs that can map the brain.
Mm-hmm.
So the thought was, you know, get these kind of technologies together, and I wear a cap on one of the pieces in this called Mind Your Head, where you'll be able to see in real time my brainwave function, and I'll be able to play my brain in real time. You'll be able to hear it and see it.
Yeah.
And see what part of the brain lights up when I do certain rhythms and certain things, which eventually will lead to music as medicine. And that's where this is all going.
Wow. Well, that sounds like a whole other can of worms.
Well, I'm just codifying it.
Yeah.
We don't really know what it does. I mean, music therapy, we know kind of sort of works, but we don't know how. So the music therapists are kind of seat of the pants kind of practitioners.
Yeah.
So this will give them a roadmap on how to use music as a healing power, as medicine. And that's really what what I'm after. It's not like a gimmick or anything. I work with very serious scientists that help me sonify and map the stem cells, DNA, heart rhythms.
It's very remarkable stuff. This is obviously a lifetime of study on these kinds of ideas.
Well, I mean, somebody had to do it.
I was going to say, is anybody else doing this kind of thing?
It's not about drums and drumming. Music really. It's about the rhythm of things.
Yeah.
And I've been working with rhythm for, let's see, I'm 69, so I can figure this out. 65 years.
Wow.
66 years I've been, being in deep in the world of rhythm.
Yeah.
And so it started out drums and drumming, which I still love. I still love to play. I still love to hit a drum.
Yeah.
And get that report and that rush. But it changes your body and it changes your mind, which is rhythm central. The brain tells it tells you what to do. Whether you want to comb your hair, blink your eye, drink a cup of coffee. You have to go through the brain.
Yeah.
So we know more about the oceans than we do about the brain. So how to make brain waves into music and DNA and my stem cells and my heart rhythms and all of these things have been codified, and now I'm able to dance with it in real time. That's the beauty of it. It's not like recorded.
Yeah.
You can see the brain light up when I do certain things. I blink my eye or strike the drum in a certain way, make some rhythm. Patterns are formed.
Yeah, that's what that was one question I had, was kind of how does that play in real time when you're like in a theater or you're used to playing very large festivals and seeing the crowd and you're kind of responding back and forth. Does that actually affect the music and then in turn affect your mind, which again affects the music then, I would imagine?
Well, of course. You just about had it right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it all is. It's the same kind of a feedback loop.
Wow.
Once you're entrained, once you're in sync with your brain, and the audience is in sync, then you have a major entrainment moment, and then that's where trance begins.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about. Like I said, it's not about drums and drumming. It's about auditory driving. It's about the neurology of what rhythm does. to the brain and to the consciousness, and into your whole to life.
Yeah, your kind of whole.
When the rhythm begins, you're born. When the rhythm stops, it's over.
You're done.
The idea is to have a happy brain. Happy brain's a good brain.
Yeah.
And so it all works into life enhancement and kind of demystifying it all, decoding it. It's not like all musicians learn how to read music. I did when I was studying.
Yeah.
And that's okay. That's all fine and good because it gives you the skills.
Yeah.
But now we're taking these kind of skills and using it as medicine. So it's music as medicine, and rhythm is the most potent part of the vibratory spectrum because drum is a noise instrument. It's not necessarily a melodic or a harmonic instrument. It's dense and harmonic. It's got a short, sharp sound bite. And that density works on certain parts of the brain more than melodic or harmonic. So it's not so much harmony or melodic. It's mostly the rhythmic nature of the body. The body is a rhythm machine.
Yeah.
You're embedded in a universe of rhythm. Look around you. Everything is in rhythm. Even though you can't detect the trees and the leaves, they have their own rhythm. It's a wild rhythm. That's the rhythms of nature. But we as drummers have domesticated all that and made it into what we call music, where people can understand it, dance to it, and have fun with it, and have pleasure. And that's what it's really about as well, because pleasure offers up a whole new set of emotions. Once you're feeling good, you could fight the good fight, whether it be dementia, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's. These are broken pathways. That's what happens in dementia.
Yeah.
And rhythm, vibration reconnect. At least for a while, the rhythm and the vibration is going. And we don't know how it works. We don't know what the brain looks like before, during, and after an auditory driving experience. But now with the new EEGs and all the new CAT scans and so forth, we're able to really quantify and be able to understand the real power of rhythm and the body and the mind. Once you can harness that and put that in the cage, that's the great mystery mind, and that's the great story behind rhythm.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's not about drums and drumming, even though that's what makes great rhythm. Drumming and drums are made to lay down a groove, to lay down a rhythm.
Yeah. The drums are a good impetus for creating the rhythms that ultimately sort of affect us in kind of interpreting rhythm and music. Yeah, I want to get a little more specific about the record because you're talking about very scientific things. Ultimately, these sounds and rhythms and these the elements that are represented in the music are kind of codified. I don't want to call them pop songs, but these are actual songs that have verses and choruses, obviously lyrics and.
You can say it. Popular music. People are going to like it because they can enjoy it. They can understand it. It's not a science experiment. It's I'm a groovist. I'm a groupist as well. I like to play in a group, and I like to groove.
Yeah.
Life is a groove, and that's all I do in my life. As I play.
No doubt.
I try to get groove depth.
You're a rhythm devil.
I do. And so, now I'm beginning to really understand what it's really about. And I'm an improvisationalist, and it's, like jazz. I play very loud, and I have an instrument that allows me to go to these places. I've created an instrument called ramu, which is random access musical universe.
Mm-hmm.
And it has the Pythagorean beam in it. It has all kinds of triggers, memory bank with all of the drums I've collected from around the world. It has the brain waves. It has the this and that. So I'm now equipped to be able to go to this space and have fun with it.
Yeah. That's a lot of fun. That sounds that's really cool.
Yeah, I mean, what you hear on the record, we play live.
Mm-hmm. And I can't imagine. I listening to it, I'm trying to picture how you're going to do this live. So I think that's one really exciting part of this tour. I'm sure for you as well, is to see how this music comes alive and how the audience responds.
It took years. It took years to get here.
Yeah.
This is something you just don't blink your eyes at.
Yeah.
I mean, I was building this instrument back in the Grateful Dead, back in the 70s and 80s. As soon as, and the digital domain came along, and I started nipping at it, and getting better at it. More if I sealed the machines started getting better.
I think technology has probably come a long way since you first started in ways you weren't maybe necessarily able to anticipate.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
And so my role is not a standard drummer's role where you sit back, make time, we play a drum solo, which really is very little interest to me anymore.
Yeah, really. You don't.
The exhibitionist kind of thing, the solo, all that stuff, and that's back there.
You've kind of been there, done that.
It's in a real old form.
Yeah.
What the power comes in groups, group drumming, when you have more than one person in training with each other and playing together, as opposed to, showing your great skills.
Right.
I do it from time to time, but it's not my focus anymore.
Yeah, you still got your chops.
Yeah, that died with Buddy Rich, and Ginger Baker and all that. That's not really fulfilling. What's fulfilling, what's the real meal, is to be able to get into a groove with other groovists and create this entrainment.
Yeah.
This sync, this major sync, like a basketball team, like a band.
Yeah, I like that.
But we have amazing, instrumentalists here. I mean, Zakir Hussain, Giovanni Hidalgo, Sikiru Adipojo. I mean, that's the best of the best.
Yeah.
But even in this kind of ensemble, any one of us can play solos. I can take you on a ride for half an hour, and these guys can take you on a ride too. But
yeah.
We're getting more enjoyment out of grouping these days, and so I have a real powerhouse rhythm section.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you use that? I mean, if you have people showing off their skills, I remember one time Gary and I went to hear Herbie Hancock, and there was a drummer playing, which I will not mention.
Tony Williams?
Not going to mention the drummer.
Okay.
And it wasn't Tony.
Uh-huh.
And I was amazed. I thought, wow. We went to the Greek Theater, and I thought, wow. I said, what do you think? What do you think, Jerry? And he said, hey, the drummer, And he goes, wow, he was really good. And he said, it's like Chinese food. It just passes right through you. It's not nourishing. I mean, just because he had the finest technique in the world and playing all over his drums and this and that is amazing and everything. It was more like arrows above the ground, more like a circus.
Yeah.
But things are changing, like with drum circles and group drumming. That's where the real power is, because you're empowering not only yourself but the others.
Yeah.
And that's my interest. I mean, every once in a while you want to cut loose and play what you would call a solo.
Right.
Just thinking about it now is so archaic. It hasn't been really in my mind for a long time.
Sure.
But
Let me back up a little bit.
It has its flash, but it's not fulfilling. It's not nourishing as group, as group drumming for me now.
Yeah.
And more people are coming to that realization.
Mickey, just for reference, what year would that have been that you saw that Herbie Hancock show?
I'm not going to tell you because then you'd be able to pinpoint the drummer.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. Fair enough.
I do not speak ill of anybody who plays the drums and devotes their life to the drums.
Right.
Because that's a very heroic and very honorable thing.
Yeah.
And anybody who makes rhythm is a friend of mine.
No, I feel you there. I was just. It's a good story. But I want to talk about, because I like what you're saying about the group drumming. Obviously, that's a big part of your career, playing with Bill and the Grateful Dead, and that's something you're probably accustomed to with playing with other musicians. Certainly, a lot of world music musicians. Probably every kind of percussion instrument in the world you've played along with.
But remember when I started playing, when I started Planet Drum and Global Drum, the drums were just relegated to the back of the bus.
Mm-hmm.
So when I won the first Grammy in '91 for world music, no one had ever charted. No drummer had ever charted. There was no charts, I don't think, with Gene Krupa.
Right.
My dear, he was a great teacher, and so was Buddy Rich. These amazing, monstrous drummers,
Yeah.
Cobb, all these great drummers. But drums weren't looked at in the musicological sense as music.
Mm-hmm.
So by putting a lot of drummers together, we came up with like a 20th century gamelan, where the drums were melody.
Mm.
It became melody, became harmony, and people could enjoy it instead of sitting. I mean, how long can you sit and listen to a drum solo? How many times can you listen to a drum solo?
Right.
But we sold them over 1 million copies of Planet Drum with 26 weeks at #1 on Billboard. I mean, it elevated drums to a new place.
Yeah.
Where the drummer now earned, it was respect.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also welcomed into the family of instruments, and it competed on an even field. So that's where we are now, and that's what that's what the future brings, I hope. I mean, there's drum ensembles like Soul Percussion and the Blue Man Group. All these kind of things are becoming very popular now, and drum circles, and women and children are drumming.
Yeah.
Now, these people aren't playing drum solos.
No.
I mean, they're not skilled enough to play drum solos. All they want to do is be together and have group rhythm and the rush up. And that's the future of drumming. And then there's the elitists, the people who are skilled and spent their whole life learning rhythm, and they can play a drum solo. Most people in the world cannot play a drum solo.
Right.
But anybody who can brush their hair can play a drum.
Right.
And with someone else. I played with presidents. I played with...
What presidents did you play with?
Well, one of them was 41.
Who would that
George
be?
Bush Sr.
Oh, sure.
We played drums together. Walter Cronkite, my best friend, we were playing drums for 10 years together. I mean, he had about 20 drums in his living room.
How was George Bush on the drums?
It was more drumming as a lifestyle, as opposed to drumming as an art, performance art.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the lifestyle of drumming. You want everybody to be playing a drum. Olatunji, he years ago, he said that someday there will be a drum in every home.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody laughed, ha, 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 ha. But now you see djembes all over the place.
Right.
Simple.
How was George Bush on the drums?
That you can go tap, 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 ticka, ticka, boom, boom, pap, pap, and have fun with it.
Yeah.
Play with your children. I play with my kids, my wife, my friends. We come over before dinner. We'll have a few minutes, maybe even after dinner, or sit around a fire at night and and we have a community kind of feeling about drums now as opposed to performance. So you have to separate performance, professional drumming, and drumming, community drumming.
Yeah.
Drumming for life enhancement, as it were. And I want kids to play. I want women to play. Women were the first drummers.
Yeah.
We find in the Paleolithic that the mother goddess cultures, about 6,000 BC, they were using large cylinder drums in their rituals.
Wow.
And they made the laws. They controlled the groove. They controlled the trance. They had the large drums, not the guys, not us Kurgan dogs. We came in and took their beautiful big drums and took their power, and eventually started praying to the sky gods, and wound up at the biblical times playing sistra and little, hand drums and so forth. So drums have plenty of power.
Yeah.
But the women now are coming back in droves and just loving it. For me, there's nothing sexier than a woman playing a drum. I don't know about
I'm pretty down with that, sure.
I mean, that's why I started drumming, because it attracted the gals.
Yeah, get the chicks.
I was playing bongo on the beach, and they were dancing around the fire, and I said, I want to do this for the rest of my life.
Well, you got what you asked for.
I mean, drums are a mating ritual.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what it's all about. It's attract the opposite sex and make more.
Yeah.
And any drummer will tell you that.
Yeah, absolutely. How was George Bush on the drums?
George was fine. We played very simply, and he enjoyed it. And fine fellow.
Yeah. So on this tour, you are playing the drum set, but you also have a guy who is from our town here, actually Minneapolis, Greg Schutte. Anything you can say about him?
Greg is solid like a rock.
Mm-hmm.
Greg is in the traditional sense a rock and roll drummer.
Mm-hmm.
But rock and roll drummers have changed quite a bit. Greg can roll over the one. He can get lost with me. Go on the half beat, start a new one wherever we put it. He's very flexible, and he knows how to expand and contract, which is really important if you're going to have a vital and a vibrant groove, as opposed to just going one, boom, 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 all well and good, and rocking steady is really good, but if you really want to find the magic, you got to go out of the box. So we're playing all kinds of times, 11, 10, even 10 and a quarter.
Yeah.
All kinds of, rhythms that are available to anyone who wants to go there.
Yeah.
The groove is elastic. It can expand and contract as long as you do it all together. It makes sense, and that's the power in it all. And once people can relax, and I try to relax everybody and say, hey, man, it's not about the beginnings of the songs. It's not about the ends of the song. It's not even about the song.
Yeah.
It's about what you do with it and how you birth it every time you play it. Every time you play something, it's a birth of a song. I never play a song the same way twice.
Yeah,
ever.
Yeah. I'd imagine.
I mean, I'm kind of noted for that. I mean, that's what they say anyway. Because I can't repeat. I'm not really into repetition like that, even though repetition and redundancy is the basis of trance. It's a certain way you have to treat redundancy, and but repetition is not necessarily redundancy.
Yeah. And do you see yourself continuing with this project in a more technological sense, like possibly abandoning the drums and just having it be kind of more like an electronic?
Abandoning the drums? Did you say that?
Nah, I didn't mean that exactly.
I don't have. My hearing isn't so good. Did you say abandoning the drum?
I'm kind of hypothesizing here. I know that's probably a sacrilegious thing to suggest, but
Danny, are you mad?
Maybe. I guess I'm trying to.
Oh man, I'll never abandon the drum, man. The drums make me whole.
Right on.
My life.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, oh no.
I can appreciate that.
No. Forget that, man. Throw that out. But what is your point?
Well, I'm just thinking about
am I going to go scientific, and am I going to think rhythms? Is that right?
Yeah, like is it going to become more of an electronic kind of project where you're not physically playing drums, but you're manipulating rhythms with just your mind?
I will be playing rhythms, whether it be with a drum or brain cells or whatever. It's all, like I said, it's not about the drum.
Right.
You keep coming back to drums. Drums are a great way of laying down rhythm. And I love drums. And that's because I was born with a drum in my hand, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, I was born to drum. So
yeah. Oh,
I'll always drum.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was born now, I probably wouldn't be a drummer. I mean, in the classical sense of, you know, I mean, I have thousands of drums from all over the world. Probably the largest collection in the world.
I can imagine.
Yeah, it got out of hand. It basically just got way out of hand. But, you know, if I were born now, I'd be able to find other ways of making incredibly new rhythms, you know, just by movement, you know, about hands, proximity. I mean, there's so many ways of making rhythm. Drums, to me, is very satisfying. I just love to slap, you know, get that report and feel the drumstick come off and send it back down to do its mission and slice the air. And, you know, the poetry of sticks in motion or hands in motion is just entrancing.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm from another era, man. You remember? But eventually, there'll be different ways of making rhythm. So right now, I got 1 foot firmly in the analog world, in the archaic world, and I have 1 foot planted deep in the digital domain. So I'm kind of like a hybrid. Hybrido. I'm a hybrid.
I can dig that.
And this is what I kind of see myself as, because science has just become hip enough to be able to really read the stimuli in the brain. Just a few years ago, you really couldn't pinpoint any part of the brain doing any one thing. Now I can see what my brain looks like before, during, and after an auditory driving experience. So now I'm starting to understand it and making sense of it, just like all the neurologists are. I mean, everybody is our students. Everybody here in this world that I'm playing in is a student, even though you have won the Nobel in it, you're still a student. Yeah. So, I mean, I play with most of the scientists I work with. Many of them have won Nobel Prizes, you know, like George Smoot. Remember the Big Bang, man, you know? Yeah. I mean, you know, come on, man. What a great... Doesn't that look good on your resume? I measured the beginning of the universe, the moment of creation. Oh, that's real. That looks great.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool thing to have been a
cool thing. So but I told George, I said, George, you know, you got 1 Nobel, huh? I said, I've got like about 400 Nobels. I mean, every bell that I've ever played that is broken, I always keep. So I call them Nobels.
Yeah.
They're not bells anymore. So you only have 1 Nobel. I have hundreds of Nobels. And so I gave him one of my bells that didn't work. My Nobels would sit near his Nobel. Anyway, we just screw around a little bit. But,
I'm sure we're kind of running out of time. I just thought it'd be kind of fun if you had any other like Grateful Dead stories about rhythm and
Grateful Dead stories are...
You've told them a million times, I'm sure.
You can read all about that in all the books. There must be 1,000 books about it. And, you know, I'm not really thinking about that now. Now I'm thinking about, you know, what you just listened to and how to take that the next level. You know, where will that lead me?
Yeah, I can appreciate that. I definitely respect that for sure.
I'm really not into the past. I'm mostly into the present and the future. I don't look back. I don't have time really. I'm doing a lot of stuff. I work at the Library of Congress, at the Smithsonian.
Yeah.
At the oral archives and so forth. So I don't have much time to reminisce and tell Grateful Dead stories these days.
Sure. I appreciate that. Well, yeah, I can totally understand.
But those were great days, man. I mean, there's nothing like a Grateful Dead concert, as they say.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting how the band has lived on, not only with the music in the former members or the current members, whatever you want to call it, but just the mythology around it. I think there's so many generations now that weren't around at the time.
Well, I didn't do that. They did that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they created their own mythology. They databased everything. They were my archivists. I know since 1967, every place I've ever played, how many songs, in what order. Books, I don't know how many have been written.
Yeah.
On a lot of different aspects of the Grateful Dead, the business aspect,
yeah,
the social aspect of it, the mystical aspect of it, all that stuff. That all becomes part of the UVA, the legends, the folklore, and so forth. I mean, it amuses me, and I'm very proud of it as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's work you don't have to do now, so it's good somebody's.
Yeah, it's already been done, but the recordings live on. They just keep selling and selling, and I mean,
it's timeless. It's very timeless stuff.
I just read in Billboard, we're in the top 5 of all time bands that have been in Billboard. I mean, have charted in Billboard, right up there with the Beatles,
yeah,
the Rolling Stones, and all that. It's just that we've had so many recordings going on and off the Billboard charts. The live performances is really the gold with us. We never made a good studio record.
Really?
So
you think so?
I never thought we made a real superb studio record. Maybe American Beauty, Working Man's Day, but Anthem of the Sun was probably the closest.
Yeah.
Our second record, but we never could unleash the dragon in the studio.
Really? That's interesting.
Yeah, the Grateful Dead is a live, breathing creature.
Yeah.
It only came alive with people in front of it, not playing for the walls.
Yeah. That's an interesting way to think about it.
Yeah, it was the beast that we unleashed every night, and then at the end of the night, hopefully put it back in its cage, and then went home and fed it again the next night. And that's how I always looked at it. It wasn't one of these things that you can call up on. You make a call. Okay, let's call up the Grateful Dead. Let it be the Grateful Dead. It never worked like that. And
yeah.
Never could repeat. Never really could get that level of intensity in the studio. Believe me, we tried.
Yeah. Is that an overall feeling within the band that?
It's like having a kid that doesn't do everything. It only does something really well.
Mm-hmm.
We love it all the same. We never could really do it in the studio, but we can sure in the hell do it live. And so that's what we look forward to, not going in the studio. The studio was just to learn the songs. We just learned the songs, and then we took them out on the road and played them. That's all. The studio was kind of like a chalkboard. Or a learning experience as far as everybody getting on the same page with the song, finding the song was only done live. We could only find the song live.
Yeah. See, I knew I could get you to talk about the Grateful Dead.
You dog.
Hey, Mickey, I'm sure you got a busy day, so I'll let you go. But I really appreciate your time, and being a drummer myself, this is a real honor to chat with you, and definitely looking forward to seeing you again.
Yeah. Okay, well, thank you for the time. Thank you for the interview, and I hope you come and see us here.
Absolutely. All right, thanks,
okay,
Mickey. Take care.
Have a great day.
You too. Have a good weekend. See ya.
You too.